Take it from me, a girl who is bouncing back from burnout, and some of you guys resonate with my story. I am trying to do everything I can to not get back to that place. And one thing I've implemented is a time of rest. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about that, what it looks like for me, some things that I've started to implement in my life, why rest is so important, what it looks like, and maybe what it could look like for you. This is a dialogue, a look behind the curtain on what has been going on with in me, in my life, and I hope you take something away from it. This is the Joyfully Free Journey podcast. Let's get started.
Hands reached up for heaven's gleam, chasing my godly dream. Mirror shoulder.
Hello, and welcome back to the Joyfully Free Journey podcast. I'm your host, Lacey Reaves, and today's conversation is one about rest. When you hear the word rest, what do you think of? Do you think of a walk on the beach, a beautiful mountainside, maybe going for a bike ride or walk in the park, maybe just taking a really long nap or even sleeping in late in your bed. Well, rest can be all of these things, but the rest that I want to talk to you about is resting after a season of busyness. Many of us go through ebbs and flows in our life. There are times where things are really dialed up. I like to call those the busy seasons. And there are times when they're tuned down and we have a little bit more margin. And so today I want to talk to you about the time in between the busy and the slow time, the time of margin. And this is a time where I actually struggle. I'll just put it out there. I struggle. I, for some reason, love adrenaline. I'm so used to being on adrenaline, almost to the point that my body gets dysregulated when I am not achieving. But that's not healthy long term. It's okay for us to have moments of busyness, seasons of busyness. But if that busy is our constant, then we're going to burn out quick. And take it from me, a girl who is bouncing back from burnout, and some of you guys resonate with my story. I am trying to do everything I can to not get back to that place. I typically try to plan out my recordings. I plan out my interviews as well as my solo episodes so that I can have some margin. Well, this month I took a lot more margin and I'm actually recording it right before it published. I think I said that in the last video. So clearly I have a theme here. I plan out my interviews and these solo episodes, these happen honestly miraculously every single month. I'm working on it. But the reason why these happen miraculously is because in my personal life, I have really been leaning into rest in this season. As I have mentioned multiple times on the podcast, I have come out of a season of burnout where I was quite literally unable to really vocalize my needs, being a ministry leader in my church, on a pastoral staff. And I have been in the past so used to going, event, wash, rinse, and repeat, and not allowing margin for myself to recover. And so after several years, almost to the tune of almost 10 years, I found myself in a really tough place. Now, I do have a podcast episode where I go into that in much more detail. So if you want to know the details about that, please check out my episode, the first episode of season 2, where we talk a lot more about my burnout journey and why this year's theme is centered around burnout. So one thing that I have tried to start implementing this year and really in my journey of becoming a more healthier leader, not just in my church, but just in life, in my relationships, being healthier in how I show up and what I say yes to, is building in margin and building in rest. Now, for me, that looks like my work days are Sunday through Thursday. So that means Fridays and Saturdays are my off days. Most times on Fridays, I'm doing something related to the podcast. So it is an off day, but it's also a working day for me. but I like to incorporate rest into it. And so what that looks like for me is more recently I've been taking walks. I get a chance to walk with with my husband on Fridays because we were both working from home. But in the midst of my regular work day, I try to take a moment to walk. Walking does so many things for me personally on a physical level. Of course, it's great to get exercise. It's great to move your body, especially if you have more of a sedentary job. I'm at a desk a lot, on the phone a lot. And so it's important to move my body for my overall well being. But secondly, I have found in the span of my personal health journey that I'm on right now that I'm low in vitamin D. And the sunshine is a great way to get more vitamin D and to, of course, get more oxygen in my blood, get my heart pumping, and spark creativity. So it's been kind of like a dual moment, a dual opportunity to work and rest. And so rest for me is not always being still. It's a lot of it is being still, but it is also walking and being out in nature. That's one thing that has helped me kind of regulate myself because I can get really focused on task projects and especially achieving. I'm a high achiever, and so I like to finish things. And if something I'm working on isn't finished, it does give me a little bit of uneasiness. And so sometimes I have to step away, especially if there's a big project that I'm working on that's not easily finished within a day. I have to step back and say, "Hey, I need to take a break. I need a mental break. I need to disengage so that I have energy to engage again." And so that's what rest looks like to me. Additionally, as I mentioned, my Friday is really a working day. It's a creative day. It's things around the house as well as podcasting. And I make certain to actually be still in my body. So I do have the movement, but I also try to be still in my body. And, that's listening to music, sitting with my windows open and just being grateful, practicing gratitude, praying, being grateful for the day, saying thank you for this day. Um, I find that those quiet moments, especially when I've been going, they help reset me. They help me focus on the day at hand. And it helps me to get out of the loop of maybe regretting some of the things that happened or going off that mental checklist of things that I personally didn't get done yet because I'm notorious for a checklist. So, a third thing that I do, which might sound really silly, is that I try to be loose with my schedule. So after having meetings and calls and groups and after work activities and all these different things, a class that I want to get to, a podcast I want to listen to throughout the week, I like to take a different approach to my weekend. I like a little bit more margin in my schedule. I try not to have such a rigid schedule on those off days so that I can have a little bit more flexibility. For me, this is just my personality type. It seems overwhelming sometimes to have something scheduled out perfectly because that's kind of the way I operate during the week. So in the weekend, I try to take the day as it comes. I have a mental list of things that I want to get done, but I'm not so rigid in the timing of those things. So it does allow my brain to do a nice hard reset so that I'm not just constantly check, 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 check. It resets the way that I approach the day and it really sets me up for being more at ease as I go about my day. And so why am I telling you this? Well, to be quite honest, has been something that I've really been practicing. I don't have it down, but it has been helping. And I hope that it helps you as well if you're finding yourself trying to add tools to your toolbox because that's what life is. We're going through life, we're adjusting, we're learning, we're growing, we're not beating ourselves up for the things that we've done wrong. I'm trying my best not to do that. And I hope you're trying your best not to do that either. But there are times that we simply do not have the tools that we need. So I want to share with you these tools that I've been picking up in the mindset shift that I've had to take as it regards to rest so that I can actually give myself permission to rest. And it allows me to show up so much more refreshed, alert, creative into the spaces that I have stewardship over. One mindset shift that I had to do was to release the idea that rest is indulgent. I think this could be a female thing. It could just be a person who has had lots of responsibility placed on them, and you're stewarding that, and you're a leader within your family, within your organization, within your ministry, within your personal friendships. Um, and sometimes it feels indulgent to rest. But quite honestly, rest is imperative. It is natural. It is spiritual. And might I just say, it is divine and necessary for us to show up as the best version of ourselves. I say that rest is worship and rest is divine because God rested himself. In the book of Genesis, where the Bible recounts the creation story, which is so cool to me, that God, while he was creating the universe, he rested. So if we have a hard time giving ourselves permission, just saying that God himself, the one that created the heavens and earth, had to rest. He allowed himself to have margin, even though he didn't need rest. He modeled the he modeled a habit that we should take note of so that we too can embrace the power of the pause. We can embrace rest. The great thing about rest is it shows us that we can't do it alone. Think about that. If we didn't have to rest, we would be able to probably complete every checklist that we ever had. We would be more productive and we wouldn't probably have to ask for help. But because we do need rest, because we can take that divine model of rest and apply it to our life, that shows us that we actually need others to not only be productive, but to be effective, to have impact. We need others. And how do we get help from others? Well, we must ask for it. And that actually requires that we stop doing what we're doing, we embrace a pause, and then we ask for help. Rest also allows us to get out of the way, as I mentioned, and allow others to come alongside us. Have you ever had a vision or an idea to do something and you just had almost all the pieces, but there is just a little bit of this challenge, this problem, this scenario in front of you that you couldn't quite figure it out? Have you ever shared that challenge with a friend and immediately gotten a solution? That is what rest does for us. It allows us to get out of the driver's seat. It gives us margin, not only in whatever task, whatever responsibility, or wherever we are in life, and it makes room for others. We were not meant to do life alone. We were not put on this earth in a silo, in isolation. We actually need each other to be able to fulfill the ideas, the dreams, the visions that we have. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain so that those who may read it can run with it, because God delights to see the work begin. And what that tells me is that I'm not supposed to have to figure everything out on my own. I'm not supposed to have to do everything alone. There's nothing that says that write the vision, make it plain so that you can do it on your own. No, it says so that those who read it may run with it. That means that there's going to be a component to us achieving our purpose, achieving our dreams and the visions that we have inside of us to release into this world that needs people. And people need space in our life, and creating space requires creating margins. So it all goes back to rest. A myth that I've had to dispel is that rest is a sign of weakness. Quite contrary, my friends. Rest is not a sign of weakness. Rest is a sign of strength. And I'll show you. In nature, we have the seasons, we have the plant cycles, we have all these things that point back to rest. In fact, right now we're in this spring season. But a season prior to this was the winter season. That's when all of our flowers go dormant. Our grass goes dormant. I'm a new homeowner and I am just marveling at how, you know, weeds will pop up in the spring, but in the summer they're not there. The leaves will fall in the fall, and in the winter they are not there. And it looks like things have gone dark. They have gone quiet. This is nature's way of resting and recalibrating itself. It's a cycle of photosynthesis. The trees are preparing themselves, the grass, the flowers, all the things, all of nature is preparing itself to blossom in the spring. But that spring can't happen without a season of rest. So too, you and I, we need rest. And rest is not a sign of weakness. It is actually quite natural for us to need rest, for us to need mental rest, spiritual rest, physical rest. And when we embrace that, we actually embrace our humanity. We embrace the fact that we can't do things alone and on our own. And we embrace the fact that we quite honestly need others in our life to come alongside us. And when we are rested, we are able to show up more authentically, more joyful for the people, for the things, for the missions, and for the vision that we have for our lives. And so I just want to encourage you today, as I am embracing rest, maybe you too are in a place, a crossroads of go and get on your own, pushing through, making it happen, or maybe taking a pause, embracing a moment of rest so that you can show up, recharge, and re energize to those that you love and to the things that you love in your life. And so I have a couple of questions that I've been mulling over. I'm asking myself these questions, and I want you to ask them to yourself as well. What is my current relationship with rest? As I mentioned before, I have struggled with feeling that rest is indulgent. Maybe you enjoy resting. Maybe you rest too much. And sometimes that can be a challenge as well. I don't want to go from being, high achieving and a go-getter to being lethargic. So there is a balance that we must strike. But my question is, what is your relationship with rest? Check out that question. Write it down. Think about it. Do you enjoy resting? Have you given yourself permission? Maybe you're good. You've given yourself permission. You enjoy resting. Sometimes maybe you enjoy too much rest. Does it feel unproductive? Do you feel that you are not worthy of rest, that it needs to be earned? Think about that. Maybe you prefer to grind it out and you don't like to rest because you just like being productive. It's important to understand what our relationship with rest is so that we can have a better perspective, a better relationship with rest. The second question I want to ask you is, what do you find relaxing? That can tell you the different environments and the different things that will bring you rest so that you can incorporate this into your everyday. For me, as I mentioned, it is having a flexible schedule. So maybe I'm not sleeping more, but I'm approaching my day in a different way. I find it very relaxing to not be on a regimented schedule. I find that I'm more creative, I'm more productive that way. Another thing that I do find very relaxing is being out in a nature setting. Now, I'm not, necessarily a hiker or a jogger, but I enjoy being in nature. I enjoy seeing pretty flowers, pretty trees. So for me, that looks like riding my bike and walking around the lake today. It was very chill, very low impact, but that really set me up for a wonderful day. Maybe for you, it's mountains. Maybe you're like my sister and she just loves to put her toes in the water. It's the beach. She will take a beach over anything. Maybe it's a spa day. What things do you find relaxing? Maybe it's reading. I love reading. All right. Third question. What people or environments support rest as a ritual? So the reason why I'm asking these questions is so that we together can identify the places and the experiences that bring us rest so that we can add rest back into our day. So Ask yourself, what people or environments support my rest as a ritual? So it's important to be mindful of this so that we can both notate what brings us rest and what drains us. Because it's almost equally as important not only to just add rest as a practice, but to start removing the things, if possible, when possible, that drain us of our rest. Being aware of those things so that in those moments where we need rest, we can make a choice to be mindful of the things and situations. Maybe we can't remove those things or situations from our lives, but we can be aware that they may not bring me into a restful place. So maybe I need to recharge my battery before entering into that scenario because it is one that does require of me rather than adding to the rest factor in my life. It's a little bit more draining than additive. All right. The next question for reflection is, what is one way I can prioritize rest in the next month? I will wait while you think about it and or write it down. This is my goal, not only for myself, but for some of these solo episodes, is to give you action items, to give you action steps, not to add more to your plate, but if you're looking to grow in this area, a reflection exercise so that you can identify the things, the places, the people, the environments that bring you rest so that you can incorporate that into your lifestyle so that hopefully we can bounce back from burnout together. All right. So once you identify those 4 things that I mentioned, what is your current relationship with rest? What things do I find relaxing? What people or environments support rest as a ritual? And what is one way I can prioritize rest in the coming month? I want you to make a date for yourself. I want you to incorporate that rest practice, that rest principle into your day within the next month. That is my coaching challenge for today. Within the next month, how can you add rest in as a ritual? And this may not be the reason why I said a month is because it's very difficult to say, okay, do it in the next week. I mean, we have lives. Many of us schedule out things. Many of us have children or other responsibilities, things that require attention. So it may not be realistic for you to do this within the next week, but within the next month, let's make a date, an intentional moment to incorporate the practice of rest. So my moment of rest, my practice of rest, I've been thinking about this as well. I've been thinking about this. I have started being more physically active multiple times a week, but I really think that I need to make a date to take a long walk, not just, my 30-minute walk, like a long walk. Maybe even go on the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while, and just like make a dedicated time to spend multiple hours on my bike. Maybe I should do that. I'm going to write that down. I'll check back in with you next month on what I did. What did I do for my moment of rest? I'm writing that down. All right. Well, before I let you go, I just want to say one more thing. Rest is divine. Rest is actually a form of worship. It is spiritual and it can transform us from the inside out just by implementing some practices that sometimes we might feel are indulgent, but they certainly are not. It would be better. I just saw a friend, my dear friend, Dr. Jaquinta Jackson. She just put up a post about this actually this week. I had already planned to talk about rest, but when I saw it, it was so insightful. There will be times when our body just must rest, but it would be so great if we chose to rest before our bodies make us rest. So please just be mindful as you're on your journey. We're on this journey together. For those of you guys similar to myself and are bouncing back from a place of burnout or just trying to prevent burnout, let's not even bounce back. I would love to help prevent someone's burnout, quite honestly. So if this is you and this episode resonated with you, please share with me in the comments what you plan to do. Let's keep each other accountable. I would love to hear how you are practicing rest in your everyday life. And hey, if you'd like to get a little bit of accountability, I am always available for an exploratory coaching call. Talk to me about what you plan to do with your rest, how you want to incorporate rest as a practice. And hey, download these questions, these show notes. I'll put all the questions in the show notes. You can download it, take a look at it, and work through these questions that I gave you today. I just want to end this episode by saying thank you for going on this journey with me. This is a passion of mine to help others discover the things that bring them joy and live authentically free. And this is my moment to just say thank you. Thank you for going on this joyfully free journey with me. Stay tuned for more interviews. Stay tuned for more coming down the remainder of this year here with the Joyfully Free Journey podcast. I am taking a moment of pause. I'm going to do a few more episodes solo, more interviews. If the intervals change up, know that I am embracing this topic of rest, but I'm still getting out content twice a month to you. Even if the timing changes, it will definitely be twice a month. Stay tuned. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll be notified every time the next episode is up. And as always, I pray that you have the boldness to pursue the things that bring you joy and live authentically free. See you next time.
Joyfully free is me. I have joy in me. I am joyfully